As we continue on with my list of my top 30 favorite TV shows of all time, we have reached the third way mark of the list here, taking a look at number 20 on my list, and it's a show that I've gone into great detail here on this channel. If you've seen the stuff that wasn't cut out because of copyright claims, but I have these reviews on TikTok too, so if you want to go check them out there. But I'll briefly talk about my number 20 favorite TV show. That is, of course, The Critic.
It stinks.
This is a prime example of a great TV show canceled way too early. The Critic is one of those smart and funny animated comedy series that ABC was trying to copy the success of The Simpsons. I mean, everyone was doing it back in the early 90s. When The Simpsons became a hit, every network had to go out there and say, we need our own Simpsons. CBS had a couple attempts at it that failed miserably. ABC had their attempts to try to do it but didn't work out. This was their first real success that they had, and then they completely dropped it altogether because it wasn't part of their lineup. And then Fox picked it up, and it seemed like it was a perfect pairing with The Simpsons and The Critic together on Sunday nights. And then Fox decided to get new brass people in there that didn't like the show, and essentially the show was quickly canceled. And it's a shame, man, because this is really a brilliant show. Simple premise is that John Lovitz plays a film critic of played by Jay Sherman, who's a mix between, of course, the two biggest popular film critics at the time, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. And, he's in this role, he sees all these terrible movies, there's a whole bunch of parodies, but you also get the backstory of his life in New York, including his boss, characters involving his boss, Duke Phillips, and of course his hairstylist Doris, his adopted family played by with his sister played by Nancy Cartwright, and his parents played by Garrett Graham and Judith Ivey. They also have his son Marty played by Christine Cavanaugh, and then later on in the series they would add characters. They would add a new love interest to him, played by Park Overall from Empty Nest, with his daughter played by Lucy Taylor. And this is a show where it was a mix between making fun of the movies and also just having fun with a different kind of family comedy approach. This is kind of like a precursor to something like a Family Guy, if you will. And really, it's considered the launching pad for many of Hollywood's best-known writers and directors. People like Steve Levitan, who went on to go and create shows like Just Shoot Me and, of course, Modern Family. Judd Apatow went on to write and direct 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up and Funny People. He wrote on this show. I mean, there was a lot of people from The Simpsons involved here, of course, but this is a show that I quote all the time. There are so many lines of the show that are so goddamn quotable. It's up there with The Simpsons and Seinfeld as some of those shows that I quote all the time. And really, the biggest reason why this was my favorite, one of my favorite TV shows, is that it really was one of the shows that inspired me to get to this point where I am today. I wanted to become a film reviewer, specifically from watching this show first, because I knew that this is what I wanted to do with my life: review movies at the same time, not going to the levels of how Jay reviews his movies, hating nearly every film he's paid to review. But then again, when you're seeing stuff like, Rabbi P.I., Home Alone 5, where Kevin has left home alone at the age of 23, and stuff like Rebel Without a Cosby, all that type of stuff, you can see why he hates every movie he's paid to see. But this show is so funny in so many ways. It's a show that was way too ahead of its time, shouldn't have been canceled when it had, and I think a lot of people will agree with me that it really is one of the best and smartly written TV shows you've ever seen. And really, it's definitely something worth checking out, especially now since there is kind of a demand by the people who are behind the show to possibly get the show back on the air. And I would like to see him do that. I think this is one of those few reboots that I think could work in a new generational setting. Like, there's so much you can make fun of with the movies of today with this show and all these characters back. And really, if you give them the same mindset as this show did back in the day, this show could be absolutely hilarious if it comes back in full force. But that's something where we're just going to have to wait and see if that ever comes to fruition. But regardless, this show still is very funny after all these years. You can still find the 2 seasons out there. Seek this show out, people. If you love The Simpsons, you're going to love the hell out of The Critic. It is definitely one of the best animated shows ever, and it's number 20 on my favorite TV shows of all time. So there we go. We've got the first third of this list out of the way. Next time we head into the second third of it, starting with number 19. If you want to hear what I had to say about Garfield and Friends last week, check out the video in the corner. Check out the playlist below, and I'll see you guys next time.